Hello and welcome to Ignorance is Myth, and you're back here with Cal and the witch Blair.
Hi, 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 hi.
Hi. We've got one of the most famous and fun myths. It's very, I'm so excited to dissect this one. We're actually going to look into today Pandora's box.
Very famous, but much like, the misremembered quote from Star Wars,
Yeah.
the I'm your father one, and wasn't a box.
Ah, it was a jar, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
amphora, isn't it like the earthen jugs?
Something like that. Yeah,
Something like that. I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
I'm not I'm not a scientist or a historian, and nor do I claim to be.
No,
What I am is a hopeless human trying to work out what the hell these stories mean.
no, you are a lifestyle and mental health guru, and I am a nerd who knows far too many odd bits about mythology. And we're both practicing witches, so
We practice the spiritual arts. We certainly do. I don't know about a guru for me. I wouldn't put myself on that pedestal, but I appreciate the
also
thought.
yeah, it's dangerous to call yourself a guru as a white man because that instantly screams cult leader.
Yeah, yeah, right. That is.
So I kind of feel like your cult would be chill.
Oh, do you know if
The
I was
cult
going
of Cal, it rolls off the tongue. We know I love alliteration.
if I was ever, I love alliteration. If I was ever going to a cult, it would be the most unsuccessful cult in the world because it would just be like, guys, just do what you want as long as you're having fun and you're healthy and you're happy.
And you want to take all their money, just enough so that you didn't have to work.
Right, you know,
Yeah,
just enough so I could do podcasts.
yeah, and that would still make you more ethical than most businessmen who own businesses.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Right, let's get straight into Pandora's box. Cheeky.
I will say that Pandora's box rolls off the tongue more than Pandora's jar.
Oh,
It might just
absolutely.
be because we're used to it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I think you're right. Okay, so in the beginning, there was harmony. The gods lived above, and mankind, freshly formed by Prometheus from earth and water, lived below in peace and innocence. What a great time. I wish we were
That
still
sounds absolutely lovely.
idyllic. How did we ruin it? There was no
Also, when you
pain. There was
also
no
in the beginning there was harmony. I'm just like harmony. I know that drag queen.
pain. Yes. And she is not as nice as she sounds.
No, and ironically named.
So there was no pain, no sickness, no war. But the gods, they are not easily defied.
It's interesting that there's no war when there's already two gods who deal in war, Athena and Ares. What were they doing? Just chilling out?
Maybe they were on furlough.
Just like the fates are just nudging them, go, don't worry, you'll have a lot of work to do quite soon.
Yeah, you'll have to catch up
Yeah.
from that.
Literally keep your feet up, don't stress because you're going to be very busy for eternity after this.
Yeah. It's so
It
true.
is about to hit the proverbial fan.
It certainly is. So Prometheus, ever the rebel, had stolen fire from Olympus and had given it to humans, which was an act of defiance against Zeus, the king of gods, because fire meant progress, power, and potential.
And toast.
And toast. Oh my gosh. Well, there's so much fire is really given us, isn't there? Like also like I guess before humankind had fire, that it was only in the sky. You know,
Sun
like
was literally
the sun was literally it. And then to sort of create that, can you imagine having created that on Earth and being like, guys?
you might think, oh God, it's breaking, bits are falling off.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right, but Zeus would not punish Prometheus alone. No, he would not. He would punish mankind.
Who had done nothing? This is always a thing. It's just like, either it's the victim blaming, like punishing
Mm,
Medusa, or it's like Ah, this god has defied me, who is another god. So who should pay the price? Humans, who
Humans.
did
They
nothing.
that was it. And that was when out of furlough arose the gods of war.
Yeah. They're like, they're like, oh, we're up. Put my hat on.
Literally Aries straight up that. And okay, so he's punishing us. So he devised a gift, a beautiful but dangerous gift.
Gucci handbag.
Birkin. Yeah.
Because that's a beautiful gift, but it's dangerous because you might get mugged for it.
Absolutely. You'll have to end up keeping it. You know, like the Real Housewives have to keep all their jewelry in bags in like bank storage. Like, I can't imagine being like, "Oh, I want to wear that bag tonight. I need to nip to the bank."
Yeah. Also, hashtag first world problems. My bags and jewels are so nice, I can't keep them in my house.
Yeah, literally crazy.
Boo, fuckity who.
But here's what I think is a little bit problematic about this story already: is he's devised a gift, a beautiful and dangerous gift. Her name was Pandora.
She was a showgirl. So yeah, I will make a beautiful, dangerous gift. I will make a woman, for they are by their nature deceitful and treacherous. Oh, here we go.
A story as old as time itself. Oh my gosh.
Because all the stories were written down by men because women weren't allowed to write.
That's so true. So true. So Pandora was sculpted from clay by Hephaestus. Did I say that right?
Hephaestus, yeah.
Hephaestus? Oh gosh, I'm getting good at these names. Made perfect by the gods. Aphrodite gave her beauty, which in her track record was just a terrible idea to begin with.
Yeah, because if anyone said to Pandora, "You're more beautiful than Aphrodite,"
oh, that would be it. Hell on earth again.
He'd be fucked.
She's just giving out what she can't deal with. She needs to take a hot moment. Hermes gave her charm and cunning.
Hermes. You're saying it like Hermes, the scarves.
I am, and the Birkin bags. You're right. The Hermes. Oh god, yeah, Hermes. You're absolutely right. Hermes gave her charm. I know this as well. Gave her charm and cunning. There's a lot of slips of the tongue here today.
Slip of the tongue isn't good with cunning, but it is good with cunning linguists. Terrible joke.
Take a moment for that one.
Yeah.
Athena gave her grace and skill, but Hera gave her curiosity, and Zeus gave her a jar.
Again, like, it feels like worst one for last, like kind of anticlimactic. You know, like the Morrigan was like charged at him as a cow, attacked him as a wolf, tripped him as an eel. Like the last one, sort of the anticlimactic. Could you imagine if you're there, Pandora? It's like, you know, like that scene in Sleeping Beauty. I give you the gift of beauty. I give you charm and cunning. I give you grace and skill. I give you curiosity. Here is a jar of what? Pickles?
Yeah, literally. I actually don't even think there's anything in this jar just yet.
Well, that's it. I think the reason why we have to keep it as Pandora's box and not Pandora's jar is because when we think of jar, we think of pickles and like mayonnaise. And
absolutely. And you can see through a jar these days.
Well, yeah, not the old-fashioned ones.
Not the old-fashioned jar, exactly. So in the box, however we tell it today, it makes sense. But it was sealed. It was locked and open.
Yeah. And opaque. It was not transparent.
Opaque, yeah, you could not see into this jar. So you may live among them, said Zeus, but never open this, which I would struggle with so hard. The second
I'm so surprised with how sexist so many myths are. There's like, but you can never open a jar because you are a weak little woman. So never ask a man to loosen the lid for you. I'm now imagining like in like a terrible, like stereotypical sitcom, like Pandora trying to open this jar, and she's like running it under a tap, tea towel to get some grip on the lid, and it is like just a jar of Hellman's mayonnaise that can change all the evils of the world. Which is terrible and horrible, but also funny.
So Pandora was sent to Epimetheus, brother of Prometheus. Despite warnings, he welcomed her gladly. How could he resist her warmth, her laughter, her glowing eyes?
Yeah, because importantly, Prometheus warned his brother to never accept anything from Zeus. Because this isn't the first time Prometheus has pissed Zeus off. The first thing he does, because the humans are sacrificing all the best parts of like the animals to Zeus. So what he does is he gets all the good meat from a sacrificial animal and stuffs it inside the animal's stomach. And then he gets a bone for the animal and covers it in like really delicious looking fat and asks Zeus, which one do you want to be your sacrifice from here going onwards? Option A or option B? Zeus picks option A, which is just a bone covered in fat. And then so then the humans are able to keep them. Like Prometheus is definitely team humanity. And Zeus is like, oh no. So this is like the second time Prometheus has really fucked Zeus off for humans.
Yeah.
And again, like Zeus's anger isn't just like going to Prometheus, it's going to the people Prometheus was trying to help. Again, hurting Prometheus by hurting the humans that he loves so much. So Prometheus is like to his brother, don't take anything from Zeus, it's gonna be a trap.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess Prometheus, like the gods, they know him as a very clever guy who's cunning and can outwit them. So they're not going to try and directly hurt Prometheus that way. They're going to go for his brother, who he's going to care about.
Which is so like also nasty because
it's the collateral damage that's a real shame. Isn't it? Like there's no need.
And that's the thing. It's like it's not something that's factored in by these deities. It's all about doing as much hurt to the individual as possible.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter if everyone else gets hurt, but also if hurting people they care about can be done, it will be done. And Prometheus cares for his brother and also for all of humanity.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, oh, you wanted to help the humans. Not only am I going to punish you, I'm going to make the people you try to help worse off, and they're going to think it's your fault for defying me. They're going to be worse off, and it's all your fault.
God.
Which is what a lot of governments do today.
That's a beautiful song. Is that on your new album?
Probably.
Am I producing it?
Probably. Hey, look, find me another producer I can pay in wine and I'll stop bothering you. You know what I mean?
My fee for production is not wine for everybody before I get any emails. Thank you.
No. It's wine for me because I know too much.
Yeah, know too much, and you very kindly do my podcast.
Because you know too much.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll always be my friend.
Exactly.
I can't afford to have you as an enemy.
That's it. And if you ever go against me, I will go after what you love.
Which means you can't go after me because I hate myself.
Oh, took a sad turn.
If you ever go after me, I'll tell everyone my ketchup girls joke about you.
Oh, on that note.
Yeah, so Pandora, Epimetheus cannot resist her.
So how could he resist her glowing eyes? And she was kind. She tried to obey. Days passed, then weeks.
Honestly, she lasted longer than I would.
Like, honestly, weeks with that jar that you're not allowed to open, you can't see into.
Yeah, that's the ancient equivalent of the wet paint do not touch sign, isn't it?
Oh my God. Other like red button, like do not press. Yeah. And it's like, argh. It's why I could never be president of the United States. The world wouldn't last very long. That red button, I'd be like, anyway, the jar whispered to her.
Metaphorically. If a sealed container is whispering to you literally, you throw that in the ocean. And I don't think Pandora would be dumb enough. This definitely sounds like a metaphor.
Yes, I think so.
Curiosity is what's whispering to her.
I think so. Or she hadn't got her meds right. Either way.
No, because the next line is every night it called to her in silence. So it's not actually whispering. We're okay.
That's true. Yeah, it called her in silence.
She's taking her meds. She's okay.
She's good. She is medicated. She's had a nice glass of red Cabernet, Sauvignon, whatever, and she is fully ready for a good night's sleep. But all
What
she
were the ancient Greek trade routes with the French wine industry like?
Hey, industry is an old thing, and wine is pretty old too. They drank wine, right? The gods, maybe.
Oh, yeah, no, of course. I'm just saying because you specifically said like a French brand, didn't you?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
old is that brand?
That's a very, very good point. It's the grape, so I wonder how old it is. Do you know, at some point on this podcast, we're going to have someone who's going to be checking our facts for us as we go, and we're not there yet, but
Yeah,
we'll get there. We'll get there
one day.
one day. What was inside? Why must it remain closed? One day when no one was watching, she opened it. It was always going to happen. Of course it was. And out poured everything that had never existed before. Sickness like a breath of ash, grief like a knife in the chest, old age slow and cold, jealousy sharp and green, war red-mouthed and screaming, death silent and certain. Now, so we've just entered a world where all of those things are just coming into reality.
Yeah, I mean, there is. It's a common trope in like horror movies of like the white people mentality. It's just like leave stuff alone. Like if a god hands me something and says don't open it, like I was raised by some white people, but some non-white people, and I very much one of my favorite like people to follow on Instagram and TikTok. Their hands like Curvy Black Witch, and they're always just constantly saying, "Put it back,
Yeah.
leave it alone, stop digging up these pharaohs,
Yeah.
don't bring back the broken doll you found in the woods." And it's like it. Like I've talked about this with friends before, like with the horror movie trailer. Like, white people are so certain nothing bad can happen to them because nothing bad enough has. And when you come to minorities, they're like, "No, that is the last thing I need. I've got
Yeah.
enough shit to deal with." And it's like in these horror movies, there was like white teenagers from wealthy families, and
Yeah.
they go camping in the forest of death and blood
Yeah. Yeah.
on the night of the anniversary of the murders that happened in that forest, and where people go disappearing every year on that night. And it won't happen to us. It's like, even if you don't believe in the supernatural, statistics alone
Yeah.
should be enough to keep it out there. Every time someone goes camping in the forest of death and blood on June the 24th, they don't come back. So why are you going camping in the forest of death and blood on June the 24th? And it is this mentality of nothing bad. But it is something that, that's a ridiculous example. It's pervasive. It's like when I was at uni, I was attacked walking home alone from a night out. And that was the first time I realized actually walking at home on my own when I'm drunk and not with it is actually a very dangerous thing to do because I'd never experienced that before. And like this horrible thing of growing up, I never heard of that happening to someone male presenting. It's like, no, it can happen. And people are so ignorant of the bad things can, and all it takes is one time for it not to be all right.
Yeah.
It's like I used to have arguments with my husband. I'm like, don't walk home on your own at night. Pay for a cab. Oh, I've always been fine, and I had to go. Yeah, so was I until the night I wasn't. Why take the risk?
Right. Absolutely. And that's it. I think when you experience something negative like that, we use the phrase all the time in our culture where we open Pandora's box. That does open Pandora's box because it creates uncertainty. You've now entered a world where those things are real.
Yeah, and you have to take precautions against the evils in the world. It's not fair, but you have to.
Yeah.
And again, it's like weirdly we spend more energy trying to teach people that. By people, we only teach it to girls.
Yeah.
Because it was never raised as a possibility that could happen to me because I was raised to be male and I should never be afraid of anything because I'm a man and I should be strong and be able to fight and blah 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 blah. And like we leave men in danger because of this and also unable to speak about these things when they happen. But also we try and tell men to not even consider it's a possibility it can happen to them. We build generation upon generation of women who have to feel afraid, and we never invest any energy into actually tackling the problems.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, yeah, that's a big thing. And they don't maybe speak out about it, because I think once you open Pandora's box, and by that I mean all those emotions, all those things that weren't real to you until now.
Yeah, I did not speak about my assault until a decade after it happened.
Right.
It happened when I was 20. I did not speak about it until I was 30. And when I did that, that's what started I spent the last 5 years in that of therapy, and so many other things that I've been repressing or ignoring. And
Mm.
because, even though I realized around the same time that I started talking about this, like non-binary, weirdly, rejecting the male identity that had been forced upon me gave me the permission to explore the trauma I'd endured. But
Mm.
once I talked about that one really horrible night, everything else that I'd just been raised to accept and repress and ignore came bubbling to the surface. And if we don't deal with these things when they happen and process them properly, they don't go away. These wounds, if they're not cleaned, fester. I'm not saying that if you clean them and you stitch them up, they heal. They work. There's going to be a scar. We carry everything,
Of course, yeah.
but at least it's not going to get infected and overflow into every part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's like ripping the lid off can let out so much horror.
Yeah.
But, spoiler alert for whoever doesn't know the end of the story, there's something in there that needs to come out as well.
Yes, absolutely. You're right. Let's move into that. So they spilled into the world like smoke from a burning temple. Pandora slammed the jar shut, but it was too late. The world had changed forever. She collapsed, heartbroken, and sobbed. But then she heard a faint fluttering, a soft tap from inside the jar. She opened it again, carefully this time, and out came a single fragile thing. It was hope. Small, glowing faintly, trembling but alive. And though the world was now full of sorrow and strife, hope remained, fluttering among the mortals, whispering that even in the dark, light might come.
And I think something really important about that is she had just opened that jar and all this horror came out and she
Mm,
slammed the lid back on. But then when she heard something asking to come out, she didn't hesitate. She opened it again
yeah, absolutely.
because so many people will start a therapy journey and it gets difficult. And yeah, maybe you need to slam the lid back on for a while, but you can't leave it on forever,
No,
especially once you've opened it once.
yeah, oh,
And
yeah,
the willing, and like, that could have been something even worse in the jar.
yeah,
But
it
she,
was good.
weirdly, even before it got out, she had hope that it would be something better.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's a really important thing, that she closed it, put the lid on it, felt it, worked through it, had those feelings and fully felt them.
Yeah,
Then
let
she,
her feelings out.
absolutely, and then was able to revisit it and
And
find
that's how she found hope. Yeah. And it's also like she made a huge mistake opening that jar.
mm-hmm.
She did what she was told not to and opened that jar. She put the lid back on, but then she repeated the thing she was told not to do. She
Mm,
revisited it, and that's how things got better. And
yeah,
again, it's like, like you say, when you finally start talking about your trauma, I think especially as someone male presenting who's expected to just repress all of that and not talk about your feelings,
mm,
and all this horror comes out, you slam the lid back on. The idea of revisiting it is considered like so taboo. That's the only way you're going to find like the light and the way out. You have
mm,
to face that you can't ignore these things. And again, it's like a metaphor I quite like for this is that all that stuff in the jar. Like, just imagine that you're someone who was raised as, say,
mm,
not you don't have to imagine, but like if we're imagining, someone's been raised as male and there's this pressure from society to repress your feelings, handle it all, be a man, not be afraid of anything. Oh, you don't talk about your feelings. That's what women do. You just repress them.
yeah,
all that horror you're oppressing isn't just in there, it's already out in the world.
Yeah.
And the idea that you have to keep it all bottled up inside because that's where it belongs, it's like, no, it got in there from outside. Send it back to where it belongs.
That's right. That
And
jar.
the thing that is drowning in the bottom of that jar is your hope.
Yeah.
You need to get that stuff out so it can do its job.
That's it. That jar was a gift from Zeus. That jar was not hers to bear.
No.
She was given something that she was not allowed to open and expose.
Yeah,
And
we're all expected to keep our horror inside. One thing
yeah.
I've started doing is I've stopped apologizing for
Mm,
purging, like, complaining about the shit day that I've had. I
mm,
used to, at the end of every day, sorry for all of that. Let's move on. Now what I say is thank you for listening,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because to let people know how valuable it is when they create a space for someone to just get that out. Because if you hold it in, you can't get on with the things you need to. The
Mm,
horror has to come out so that it's not rattling around in your head, and then you can't find the things you need to deal with it.
yeah. Absolutely.
And like one of my best friends once said to me they didn't think our friendship was equal because I've done so much more for them than they've ever done. They said all I ever do when you're having a hard time is listen. And I'm like, don't play that down as no big thing, because what you do is you create a space where I feel like I will be listened to and not judged. And that's something so many people lack and everyone deserves.
Yeah. For
And
me, I
it's
told.
interesting because like it feels like what he does there feels like nothing to him, but it means the world to me. And I think a lot more of us need to understand that the small something that feels like no effort to us, it feels so inconsequential, so we don't do it, could be earth-shatteringly beneficial to somebody else.
I agree. I think that's so. I think it's so important. I think listening, in fact, it is giving our time, and as we've spoken about before on this
It's a
podcast,
worthy sacrifice. We have a limited amount.
that's
And
it. You know,
to know someone cares about you enough to sacrifice their time for you,
yeah,
even if it's time that they, because like I've said that to my friend, I'm like, you sacrifice your time for you. It's like, oh yeah, but I would have just been playing video games. I'm like, not just. That's how you switch off.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
how you. That's one of your mechanisms to get the shit from the day out of your system. But
yeah,
instead of doing that for yourself, you sat down and gave me your time.
yeah. Wow.
And we don't give these things enough respect. Again, we focus so much on things that don't matter. They don't deserve as much time and attention as we give to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do something that's absolutely miraculous to the person that's receiving it, and we don't realize the value that has. And so we don't think it matters when we don't do it because we don't think it was a big deal.
Yeah, that's so sad, isn't it?
And that's why I actively thank people for giving me that space now, because I want people to realize how much it means to me, but also realize how much I need it. There's a selfish aspect to that as well. Like, please don't stop giving me this space because it's what I need to survive. Like, when you let people know how much something that they don't see as a big thing helps you, you guarantee that they'll keep doing it.
Yeah,
Because if they don't think it's a big deal,
yeah,
why would they keep doing it if something else comes
right.
up? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And also, there's something good about knowing that something that maybe hasn't cost you that much, maybe a bit of your time, um, to know that you can do something that costs you so little that can help someone so much is a very empowering feeling. And I
Mm,
think a lot of us in this day and age feel like we can't do much good for the world.
yeah, yeah.
But there's the world and there's your world and the people in it.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm,
know, there's, you know, the world exists, but my world is so much smaller.
yeah.
And that's the one I really have the power to change.
So,
And I I know that the people close to me know that they can let out sickness, grief, old age, jealousy, war, death, like all the horrors in their jar out
mhm,
into my life, and it's not going to darken my world. And
no.
even if it does, even if it leaves me feeling sad for a while, I'm glad it's in the world that we share and not in them, where
Yeah.
it can do a lot more damage.
Yeah. Completely. Absolutely agree. It's
Do you remember earlier when we were just cracking jokes? It got quite heavy, didn't it?
it
It
did.
always goes like this, doesn't it? And I love it.
It's
Bit of
nice.
both.
Yeah, exactly. We hit the points that really need to be spoken about, but we also can do that with a lightheartedness. And
Yeah,
I think that's so incredibly important to remember. And you're right, like changing the world starts with changing our world and
yeah.
taking control of what we can, leaving behind what we can't. And
Like there are so many of us on this planet that if everyone gave a fraction of the time they give to their phones
mm,
to the people they care about, that would ripple out and the world would change for the better. And
yeah,
it's like I have a smartphone. I try and not spend as much time on it. They're time thieves, and they
yeah,
steal time from things that matter. I've driven like to visit friends, and we'll be sat in a beer garden, and all of them are sat on their phones sending TikToks to each other,
God.
and I'm like, put that fucking time thief away, or I will throw it
Yeah,
away.
you river.
But I have taken time to drive here. I've spent financial resources to be here with you so I can spend time with you. And you're not
Present.
doing this small thing of putting that little fucking time thief away to give me some, which
Mm,
makes me feel like I have no value.
mm-hmm.
Like
Absolutely.
it why do you remain friends with me if you don't value my company more than the random videos strangers put on the internet?
Do you
Again,
know?
people seek so much approval in there as well, rather than
Yeah,
listening to the people who know them and know their value.
absolutely. I used to teach well-being in college, and I remember at one point I was asked to come into a particular campus where the work there was a bit more stressful. Um, and they said they're all struggling with sleep. They all say, "Oh, what's your biggest problem with well-being? It's sleep. It's sleep. Come in and do a sleep clinic with them." So I did. I went in and I went through everything and I spoke to them about their sleep hygiene and how they can get a better night's sleep. And I got them all to get their phones out. I said, I want you to go into settings and I want you to tell me your screen time, the highest screen time you had this week. And you know, there were kids in this class. I say kids, they're all 16 to 18
Yeah.
plus. Um, and they were 18, 19 hours, 17 hours, maybe a couple with 12 hours. I don't think anyone got lower than 10 hours.
Mm.
And that's of the waking day. I'm saying, no wonder you're not sleeping. I think some of them literally went up to like about 20 hours. I'm thinking, you've had 4 hours sleep if you slept when you weren't on your phone. No
Yeah.
wonder you're tired.
And blue light aside, like obviously there's the dopamine addiction of quick returns from scrolling through these videos. And I made a joke once. You were there actually. It was when I was doing the Owlies.
Oh,
When I said I grew up at a time when the gays were young, dumb, and full of cum. Now they're young, dumb, and full of a desperate need of approval from complete strangers on Instagram.
I remember
And
that.
I said it as a joke, but I had a few people talk to me after and say, you know what, you're so right. But I fell into that trap when I started putting my drag presence online. Like people
Yeah.
would start saying they hated the way I dressed or the way I looked, and I see it on dating apps as well. People insult my appearance. And I was like, why am I giving that more weight?
Mm-hmm.
And we have this thing of where the people who love us, we think they're lying to us to spare our feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
I fall into this trap with my body dysmorphia of like a stranger on a dating app or a hookup app will call me skinny fat. And I
Mm,
hear that louder than when my husband tells me I'm beautiful.
yeah.
Because I go, well, he loves me. He has to say that. I'm like, actually, no, he doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he doesn't at all.
You can fully sidestep how you look.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not just through his words, it's through his actions. I know he thinks I'm beautiful and attractive. And like, I'm getting to the point in my body dysmorphia. It's like, well, I think I'm ugly, but I don't fuck me. So
Doesn't
I don't.
matter.
I am literally the only person on the planet who doesn't need to find me. It's like, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if I find me attractive. There's no effect either way.
Yeah.
And I'd rather think I'm hideous than think I'm God's gift to be an arrogant son of a bitch. So out of the two, but it's this thing of like, I think the internet is a remarkable resource, but I see it as quite akin to Pandora's box because it opened us, like all of this stuff is now spilled out into the world. That every bit of information is out there somewhere. That
Absolutely.
everyone's focused on the horror,
Yeah.
and like companies who run social media sites target things to you that make you angry because that has the biggest uptake.
Yeah.
And you know, if I scroll through my social media, I'm trying to affect my algorithm to just show me cute animals at this point.
Smart one.
It's either people who are literally paid, they've made it their job to look as attractive as possible. They've already had the benefit of their genetics, and now all they do is go to the gym and look after their skin.
Yeah.
So I'm forced to see that and made to feel like shit for not looking like that when I have to do so many of that is literally their job to look like that.
Yeah.
And if I could spend my entire waking life trying to look like that, maybe I could manage it. I don't know. But then the other thing I just see is all the horrible things going on in the world. It's just like we need to look for hope. It's this tiny, fragile thing. We have to actively look for it. It is out there.
And we have to let it out sometimes.
And something about myths, and particularly like, myths and fairy tales, it's just like, oh, they're for kids. These moral stories about, be good,
Mm.
and like, be kind and good things will happen. As soon as you hit adulthood, it's like, okay, yeah, don't be such a fucking child. This is the real world. It's like, it doesn't have to be.
Why is being kind childish?
Why are we raising our children to believe this if we expect them to dismiss it? Why not? If you think the world is a cruel, heartless, and horrible place, raise kids like that from the fucking start and give them a fighting chance.
Yeah, because if you really believe that, you wouldn't have kids because you wouldn't put
Yeah.
them in.
I remember getting to a huge argument with someone at uni when we had this night where we were all like telling like some of our favorite stories, and I told some fairy tale or another, and it wasn't Disney. It was one of like the old fashioned ones where it's terrifying, but the moral of the story is, be good and be kind, and things work out. And so I just said, "Oh God, that's so childish! Like you're like reading that. What are you, a child?" And it's more childish to ignore the horrors in the world so you can sleep at night than to dare to believe in hope. Do you have any idea how brave that is? I felt arrogant saying it. I was like, I dare to believe that being kind will have a positive effect in the world when it is so full of horrors.
Yeah.
Surely that's braver than just trying to numb yourself to it by only reading horror. Don't get me wrong, I love horror stories, I love horror movies. But so many people who I know who have they're numb to real world horror because of how much of the fantasy horror and like fictional horror they indulge in.
Crime
And
documentaries. What
yeah,
are crime documentaries, true crime, if it's not just numbing us to what we're all subjected to at
yeah,
all times?
like it makes you compassionless. It makes everything clinical.
Yeah.
And I spent the last couple of months feeling incredibly numb, and I had an incredible therapist, and I've got to the point now where I have the resilience to hope again. That resilience is powered by rage and spite, but negative emotions can have their good uses. So it's, again, I hate calling them negative emotions. The ones society terms as negative.
Yeah.
Anger is not negative.
No.
Unleashing that anger on innocent bystanders is negative. Like,
Yes.
my anger gives me the energy to do what I need to do. And my spite, and whenever I try and repress those emotions, that's when it overspills and hurts the people I care about or hurts me. It's like, funnel these things into something useful, even if all you can do with your anger is plant your face in a pillow and scream. Do it, and don't be ashamed about it.
Yeah, completely.
When I was 20, after my assault, I drove out into the middle of nowhere, walked into a field, climbed up a hill, and I screamed until my throat was hoarse. And then I went back and I let that anger run through me to do what I had to do to keep moving forward.
Sure.
And like something every therapist I've ever had has hated me saying it is, if this world that makes me feel like this, or my brain
Mm.
that makes me feel so worthless at times wants me dead, they can do it themselves. I'm not doing it for them. I will continue to exist to spite the parts of my mind that go that way, and the world that will not welcome me
Mm.
and punishes me for trying to be involved or for standing on the outside.
Existence is resistance. It's one of my favorite phrases, you know?
If this world wants to try and chew me up, I'll make sure it chokes.
Yeah, nice.
Because, and like, sometimes I feel like I talk about this stuff too much, and then I'm like, you know what? I would have loved in so many dark points of my life to have heard someone say this. And even if one person stumbles across this podcast and hears me say, if you're feeling spiteful and vindictive towards the world, good. Let them choke on you. You look after you, hun. Like,
Mm, mm,
there's a
mhm.
reason I'm not allowed to be a therapist. You're not allowed to say this
No,
on the NHS or even as a private therapist. But
no.
as a random witch on the internet, I will fully say this stuff because I can't be sued for it.
It's true. It's true. I think, yeah, in therapy, they would definitely, it's a similar thing where they work towards, if you use humanistic psychology, you work towards your self-actualization, where you're so comfortable and comfortable in yourself that the things that go on around you that try to knock you don't have as much of an effect on you. It builds your resilience in that
Yeah,
way. I think you're saying the same thing.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I think, I think I've said it here before, the reason, like, besides for all the queer coding because of the Hays Code of like Disney villains,
Mm,
the reason so many queer people relate to them is because they are ostracized for being different. They are feared for their power and for being different. And I'm like, and for just being themselves. And like, if me being myself is going to make people think I'm a monster, good, be afraid.
yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
alpha. It's,
yeah,
it's Alphaba's story, and I think that is, yeah, I think that's why a lot of people connected to the retelling of
yeah.
that, because
It's why I loved the live action Maleficent movies. 'Cause it's like, you've got this king who's just like, oh, there's these creatures that have what we want, so we're vilifying them and we're going to take from them. And then a strong woman repelled us, so um, someone to serve his own ends abuses her trust and
Mm,
like takes her wings from her. And
mm,
then it's like you've made her out to be a monster, you've mutilated her. Fine, deal with the consequences of that.
yes, absolutely.
And like there's this no like no revolution has ever occurred by people asking for more rights.
No,
And
no.
like we and like it's this thing now of like, well, no, at first it was protest peacefully, and now it's don't protest, write to your MP, and it's like it's like no, because that's not how things get done.
Mm,
Like if you're going to continue to have a world where people who are different are forced to suffer, don't get butthurt when we start kicking back because you've had the chance to fix
mm.
this and you've not taken it. And that works on a societal level, but also on a personal level.
Very true. I think
If you've tried to play by the rules and you've been punished, find a way that works for you.
absolutely. It's all about, I think we have to think of the way that society works and the system that we're in as a bit of a game. And you can choose
Yeah.
to play your own game next to the people playing that game and be aware the whole time that you're playing different games and they're not going to cross over. Or you can choose to try to win that game, or you can choose to not win that game or not make a decision. The bottom line is you have to choose.
Yeah. Or just do where I sit is I don't play the game anymore. I walk around the table where everyone's playing poker and say, this is stupid, you realize.
Mm. Yeah. And that's
He's cheating, by the way.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that I think that's exactly it. And I think historically things have changed through drastic measures. And obviously we're not inciting anything like that, like that's not something
No,
you can necessarily condone.
the people who benefit from an unfair system will never change it unless they're forced to.
Yeah, that's
But
that.
the longer they go without meeting in the middle, the more they are to blame for if things spill over into something horrible. It's
Yeah,
like it's that thing of like, meet me in the middle, says the man with power. You take a step forward, they take 2 steps back. Why won't you meet me in the middle?
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, it is ridiculous. And it is like, it's just so stupid. And the thing that saddens me is the amount of people who suffer at the hands of this system, who buy the party line and target the scapegoats they're presented with. And it's because they feel like they can't tackle the system. So if
Mm,
they're told they can blame someone else for why their life is going wrong, someone more vulnerable than them, they will attack them. So they can feel like they're having an effect. So they can have a false hope that their lives will get better once they get rid of this problem.
mm.
And they can feel powerful because there's someone who's lesser than them, but they deserve it. And once they're dealt with, that's when I finally catch my break. And I don't think there's truly anyone who deep down doesn't know that that's wrong, but they feel helpless.
Yeah,
And
it's
they've
like
been given the permission to kick downwards, to offload some of the shit they have to deal with every day. And it's a corrupt system that, and the people in charge know that that's how it works
yeah,
because they know that people are too afraid. And again, if people have like that small luxury of like, well, I've got a nice TV, or
mm,
I can't risk having losing anything, so I can't try and implement change, even though I'm not doing
hmm
well. At least I'm not as bad as someone else, but I could end up worse off if I try and make a world that's better and fairer for everyone, myself included. And
yeah. That's it.
again, I see all the problems in the system. I'm nowhere near smart enough to fucking fix it. So there are loads of people who are, and they just get ignored and like painted in the media because the media is owned by the people with all the money and power as lunatics and unreasonable. And
But I think the important thing to take from the story that we've just worked through is that
oh yeah, sorry, Pandora's box. There's
amongst
horror everywhere, but there is hope.
amongst all that horror, there is hope, and that's the bottom. That's the bottom line, you know. And
And
I
you need to find your own hope and follow it,
completely, completely.
and
I,
take time away from the horror to look at the hope.
yeah. Oh my gosh!
And
Don't be so engulfed by the horror that it takes over your entire life. You can't. You
no,
can't.
like stop doom scrolling, have a drink, look at some flowers, talk to the people you care about,
Yeah.
talk about things that matter to you, listen to the things that matter to them,
Yeah.
and don't be afraid to engage in difficult conversations because the other downside of social media is you don't you can find anyone online, but you can just search till you find people who agree with you on everything. You don't have to adapt, compromise, or grow.
Hmm.
Like I was around when it was the generation of the people you knew were the people who lived near you.
Yeah.
And you didn't agree on everything, but you found a way to make peace. And now you can search online to find people who are on your side with it, pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to learn to accept people for being different
That's
than
it.
you. And you find an echo chamber. And I don't think any side of political or social spectrums are innocent of that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I've been guilty of that.
Mhm.
Finding people who like agree with me on pretty much everything, and I try and get out in the world and talk to people who think about things differently than me, and I have to have some very difficult conversations.
Mm.
Um, but I think it's the only way you can continue to grow.
I agree.
So
Absolutely.
you follow hope, look for hope, but also sometimes you have to face the horrible and the uncomfortable.
Mm.
And sometimes that is just talking to someone who's had a different experience to you
Mm.
and
Fine.
trying to understand and empathize as much as possible when you haven't lived through it yourself, and
Yeah.
trust them when they tell you about their experience because you
Yeah.
haven't walked in their shoes. And suffering, finally, and then I'll shut up, is not a competition.
Yes.
Yours does not invalidate anybody else's, even if you've had it worse, and vice versa.
Completely agree. Completely agree. Right. Well, we'll call it there. Wow. That was a deep one. That was a good one. I knew this one would pop off. I love it.
Yeah. I was worried at the start of this one. I thought, oh, I might not have much to pop off on this one. And then we opened the jar, didn't we?
We opened that jar.
Luckily, we were both assigned male at birth, so we can open jars.
That's right. I might need a tea towel, but I can get on with it. I might need a tea towel, but I can get on with it. That might be the episode.
Yeah. Yeah, just hand me that tea towel.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever you do, do not call it. Need a hand with that jar, love.
Oh God, no.
No, we do
Cancelled.
not. We do not abide by toxic masculinity on this podcast.
No, we do not.
We do not approve.
Thank you so much for chatting to me, Blair, and thank you everyone for listening. We will be back with one more. We got one more to go.
One more for the series. I know. We've already got ideas for series 2, though.
Oh yes, already in production. So hope that everyone comes back. Loves it. Okay, so yeah, thank you guys, and we will catch you in the next one.
Hope to see you again soon.
Ha
I'm going now.